Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome inside Pheno Field as Milford TV is happy to bring you coverage of Milford Legion baseball. This is Tim Coette on the call, getting set for a late season matchup for Milford Post 59 as they get set to take on one of their chief rivals in the zone, Leominster Post 151. We are right down to the wire in the regular season. Just 3 games remain on the schedule for Post 59 after the day here today. And of course, it is going to be a busy day of Legion action here at Pheno. Game 1 of a doubleheader. Doubleheaders have been the name of the game of late for Post 59. They were scheduled to play one yesterday. Unfortunately, game number 2 got rained out. Playing a doubleheader on Thursday. They'll be playing one here today. And also still a couple more games to make up before this regular season comes to an end. But Post 59 comes into action here today at 16-4. They are currently in 3rd place in the standings and going up against a Post 151 team with an 18-4 record. They are right above Milford in those Zone 4 standings in 2nd place position. So this is a game with the potential to impact playoff seeding moving forward. And so both teams getting set to get this one started now. As you can see, Milford has already taken the field. Jack Tempesta on the hill for Post 59 in his first year with this Milford team. And as we take a quick look at Tempesta's numbers on the season, he's been utilized off and on in the bullpen and also in the rotation for Post 59 this season. And so he comes into today's action with a record of 1-0. In 9 innings pitched so far, he's allowed 12 hits, 11 runs, 9 of them earned. He's hit a batter, walked 8, and struck out 7. Comes in with an even 7 ERA, so trying to lower that ERA here today, but not an easy task, as he is going up against a Leominster offense that has been scoring very well all season long. For much of the year, they led the Zone 4 standings, won their first 12 consecutive games, and of course the first of those 12 straight wins came against this Milford team back on opening day of the season, which at this point certainly feels like it was a long time ago. Milford playing Leominster up at Pincanavino Field on June 11th, and Leominster was able to take that game by a final score of 6-2. They rattled off 11 more victories in a row before they finally lost on this 2017 season, and of course with Shrewsbury surging through the second half of the year, Shrewsbury has taken hold of first place in the zone. And so the other 2 teams atop these standings, and really it's been Shrewsbury, Leominster, and Milford all season long that have been the class of the zone. And now 2 of those 3 teams take the field here at Pheno today. First pitch on the way, and it is a called strike 1. And Legion baseball underway. We will eventually be going live on air on My FM 101.3, but for the time being exclusively bringing you this coverage on Milford TV. Of course, happy to have Milford TV once again covering this 2017 Legion season. We'll be here for both ends of the doubleheader here today. And a 1-ball, 2-strike count on Cooper Bigelow, leading off the top half of the first inning. Tempesta into the windup, and the righty's pitch is lofted out to right field. That's going to be trouble, and that drops in for a base hit. Ribello gets to it quickly and fires it back in, but a leadoff base hit for the shortstop, Cooper Bigelow. Let's bring you the rest of the Leominster lineup. Cooper Bigelow leading it off at shortstop with Connor Wernin, the first baseman, now coming to the plate. Brendan Lefebvre batting third. He plays second base with Richie Sharp, the starting pitcher, batting cleanup. Matt Barron, the center fielder, bats fifth with Dom Fusco, the left fielder, batting sixth. Sage Bray plays right field and bats seventh with Nick Machado, the catcher, batting eighth. And in the ninth spot is the third baseman, Parker Bigelow. And now Tempesta missing outside with ball 1 to Connor Wernin, who blasted a home run when these 2 teams met on opening day. Wernin going 2 for 4 in that game with a 2-run blast. The runner quickly taking off, now gets hung up off of first base. Here's the throw, and the infield umpire says he got back to the bag safely. So a near base running blunder for Cooper Bigelow as he started, stopped about a third of the way down the line, and was just able to get back, as it did take Tempesta a beat to get that throw to first base. He looked towards second initially before firing to first. And so that was just enough for Bigelow to get back in. And now a 1-0 pitch to the plate. This is lofted in the air off the third base side. Jake LeBlanc ranging over as far as he can just in front of the left field bleachers. And he is unable to make the play. That one just out of LeBlanc's reach. And the count evens at a ball and a strike. Defensively for Milford, it's Alex Reynolds behind the plate. Jake LeBlanc at third, Dawson McMillan at short, Tyler Almeida at second, and Tyler Monahan at first. Left to right in the outfield, Michael Farrell, Sean Rebello, and Kyle Nocera. And that pitch just misses off the outside part of the plate. And again, Wernan able to jump ahead 2-1. Now the next one to the plate, and that misses high. As we mentioned when we rattled off the numbers for Tempesta, walks have been a problem. He has walked more than he has struck out this season, 8 walks to 7 Ks. Here's his 3-1 pitch, and this is popped up foul out of play. And so that fills up the count. We'll see if once again Bigelow is on the move at first base. Starts to walk out to a lead as he is held on by Monahan. Here's the set. Now they'll check over in that direction, and Bigelow again able to get back in safely. Bigelow's bookending this lineup for Leominster with Cooper Bigelow at the top, Parker Bigelow in the 9 spot. And a stutter step that time for Bigelow, but again he's able to get back on the pickoff attempt. It is a 3-ball, 2-strike count to the Leominster first baseman Connor Wernan. And the runner goes as the payoff pitch is sent foul. That got in on the hands of Wernan. He fouled it away up over the backstop. And so a lengthy at bat here. "11 pitches so far in this inning for Tempesta. This time the runner holds as the pitch is high for ball 4. And an inauspicious start to this top of the first for Jack Tempesta. First the bloop single out to center, and now the walk to Wernan. 2 on with nobody out. And the number 3 hitter, Brandon Lefebvre, showing bunt, pulled it back and ended up taking strike 1. And if there's one thing we know about this Leominster team, you cannot afford to fall too far behind. Leominster comes in allowing less than 2.5 runs per game. Their pitching has been dominant throughout the year, as has Shrewsbury's. This time Tempesta able to get ahead of the batter, 0-2, and now Lefebvre will step out. And fortunately for these two teams, much better weather here today than what we experienced here in the Milford area about 24 hours ago. Milford just barely able to get their first game of the doubleheader in yesterday before the skies opened up, as this 0-2 pitch is poked foul off to the right. Racing over was Monahan, but he didn't have a play. Rain falling as Milford and Northborough finished up their afternoon contest. Milford winning that game 5-0. They were scheduled to play a second game on the day against Eastside at 7:30, but torrential rains came in for a good half an hour, and that washed away the chance for a second game to be played here at Pheno. And the field in much better condition now than when we left it yesterday. Much of the infield was flooded due to those heavy rains. It's now a 1-2 count to Lefebvre. The next pitch is a liner out to shallow center field. It's down for a hit. Racing around from second base is Bigelow. The throw back into the infield is cut off as Bigelow scores on the RBI single for Brandon Lefebvre, and Leominster quickly able to take a 1-0 lead.
The pitcher, number 18, Richie.
And so Tempesta has yet to record an out in this first inning, and once again it's runners at first and second base. Wernan is now the lead runner at second with Lefebvre at first, and Richie Sharp, today's starting pitcher, now bats out of the cleanup spot. This will be the second time that Richie Sharp has pitched against Milford this season. He dominated them back on opening day. We'll get to more of those numbers when Sharp comes to the hill in the bottom half of this inning, but also an imposing presence in the batter's box. Up there on the right side now, facing the righty Tempesta. And the 1-2 pitch is low, blocked out in front. So a 2-ball, 1-strike count. Milford playing without the services of Joe Sanchioni, at least for this first game of the doubleheader. Joe has been nursing a knee injury over these last couple of days. Coach DeVito erring on the side of caution with his shortstop. A 2-ball, 2-strike count now on Sharp. Tempesta trying to get an out any way he can here after the first 3 batters of the inning have reached, one of them coming around to score. And this ball is sent high in the air, off towards the left in foul ground. Looks like it should be playable for LeBlanc. He makes the catch on the warning track. And so there is out number 1.
Now batting, the center fielder.
And Tempesta now up to 22 pitches. And he's still got 2 outs left to get here in the top of the first. Now facing the number 5 hitter, Matt Barron. We'll look down to second base for Tempesta, as now Barron lines this ball out to left field, down for a hit. Another run will come in to score for post 151 as Wernan comes around from second base. And good hustle for Lefebvre as he was able to go first to third, as Leominster will quickly open up a 2-0 lead. On the RBI single for Matt Barron. We've seen some solid contact made now on these 3 hits off of Tempesta. So he now allows earned runs numbers 10 and 11 on the season. And now runners at the corners with 1 out as he deals in strike 1 to Dom Fusco, the left fielder. Fusco went 1 for 3 against Milford pitching when these 2 teams met earlier this season, and takes that pitch on the inside part of the plate. And so again, Tempesta is able to get ahead. He's been able to get ahead of the last few hitters, but has struggled putting them away. Here's the 0-2 pitch with the runner taking off from first, and it's poked foul off to the left. Back to the bag goes Barron. Stays an 0-2 count. As the lefty batter sets up shop deep in the batter's box. The 0-2 pitch is a breaking ball that misses high. A good turnout here around Fino Field for the first game of this doubleheader. Many Leominster fans no doubt making the trip out for this one. Runner goes from first as the ball is fouled away again. Tempesta a look over towards first base before he comes to the set position. And the 1-2 pitch is sent foul right to the backstop. That one right in the direction of a fan seated behind the backstop who did not even flinch. Runners leading at their respective bases at first and third. Again, the runner goes from first as this one is fouled away, and that came up and got Fusco right in the mouth. Chopped that one straight down in front of the plate, and it came back up and got him, looked like right around the mouth, waving towards the the third base dugout that he's okay. And he'll quickly grab his bat. Coach Jeff Dedian out to check on him. Coach DeVito out of the first base dugout as well. That's something you always see, no matter which side suffers an injury scare, you immediately see both head coaches out to check on the situation. Just a good sign of sportsmanship. And of course, these coaches, especially the two head coaches for these two teams, care a great deal about the players and their health and safety. Again, the runner goes as this is sent in the air out to right field. A long run for Sean Rebello into the gap. He gets there. Now sends the throw back to first. It will not get there in time, and in the back door from third comes Brandon Lefebvre. So credit Fusco with a sacrifice fly. And Leominster able to take a 3-0 lead. So no chance to double off that runner at first to end the inning, and instead another run comes home for post 151. So those first three runners reaching off of Tempesta, and now all three have come around to score. And with 2 outs now, the lone runner is at first base, and Matt Barron, as Sage Bray takes the first pitch high for ball 1. And now that one snapped off low and outside, bounces in the dirt, and another good block from the catcher, Alex Reynolds. Two balls and no strikes, 2 outs. Monahan now playing behind the runner at first as that pitch is in for a strike. Two and one. And Tempesta's next pitch is in the air out to right field. A routine play for Nocera. He strides towards the line. He's able to make the catch, and that out will end this top of the first inning, but not before Leominster sends 7 batters to the plate against Tempesta. They score 3 times, and post 151 able to take a quick 3-0 lead on Milford. We'll be back with the bottom half of the first inning next here on coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on Milford TV. Bottom of the first inning now from Pheno Field. Milford coming to the plate, already trailing in this game 3-0. After they were able to shut out Northborough in their game yesterday. Some work to do offensively, and they'll have to do it against a pitcher that they had a hard time with back on opening day, Richie Sharp. Ended up with a complete game victory against Milford as the righty faces Sean Rebello to open this inning, and Rebello jumps ahead 2-0. Sharp going 7 innings. He scattered 5 hits, allowed just 2 unearned runs. He walked 2 and struck out 6. Of course, that was Milford's very first game of the season. Not a lot of time for the team to gel together, as they had only recently freed up their Hopkinton players who made a good run in the playoffs. So this is a much different Milford team operating on a much higher level, particularly on the offensive side of the ball. Rebello now about to see a 3-1 pitch. Takes a hack at it, comes up empty, and the count runs full. Rebello stepping into this leadoff spot with Sanchioni on the shelf for the day. And now the payoff pitch is shot out to the opposite field, and that drops down for a base hit. That is something we have seen Sean Rebello do more and more.
Number 9, Dawson McMillan.
And so with a runner on to lead off the inning, now Dawson McMillan at the plate. And a bunt attempt from Dawson McMillan comes up empty. And we apologize for that brief interruption on the TV side. And for our radio listeners, we welcome you into Pheno Field as My FM 101.3 is happy to bring you coverage of Milford Legion baseball. We're jumping straight into the action in progress as you had an opportunity to listen to the conclusion of the Red Sox final game of the first half of the season, a 5-3 loss for the Red Sox against the Tampa Bay Rays, a back-and-forth game in the late innings. And now we're happy to present to you game one of a doubleheader here at Pheno today. Milford taking on Leominster. And a rough start to this one for Post 59 as they already trail Post 151 by a score of 3-0. Leominster getting RBIs out of Brandon Lefebvre, Matt Barron, and Dom Fusco in the top of the first against the Milford starter Jack Tempesta. But Milford does have their leadoff runner on here in the home half of the first as Sean Rebello singled. And it's a 2-ball, 1-strike count on Dawson McMillan batting in the number 2 spot. And McMillan now skies this pitch out to shallow left field, settling underneath as Fusco. He makes the catch, and McMillan is out number 1 in the bottom of the first inning. We, of course, were unable to bring you today's Consigli Ruggiero Funeral Home pregame show, but our pregame show, as always, brought to you by Consigli Ruggiero Funeral Home, located on Water Street in Milford, serving all faiths for over 50 years. And in between innings, we will get you caught up on all of the starting lineup info for today's game on the radio side, and of course Milford TV also covering this game as well. And right now Richie Sharp, the starting pitcher for Leominster, very preoccupied with the speed of Sean Rebello at first. Rebello does lead Milford in stolen bases. Aiden Wild at the plate now for Milford, and takes the first pitch for a called strike 1. Aiden Wild's bat has slowed just a bit by his lofty standards. The batting average that for the majority of the season was well over the 500 mark, now down to 431. Of course, still an incredible achievement. Takes a hack at this 0-1 pitch and drives it on the ground right up through the middle for a base hit. And so Milford, who was only able to scratch across 5 hits against Richie Sharp when they faced him back on opening day, have already grabbed 2 hits here in the bottom of the first. And that will give them the opportunity to bring the tying run to the plate in the form of Tyler Monahan, who is due to break out for a hit. After hitting safely in Milford's first 18 games on the season, saw that hitting streak come to an end back on Thursday against Cherry Valley, and then went hitless in yesterday's win against Northborough. So a rare offensive drought for Monahan, who still leads the team in batting average at .459, also leads the team in extra base hits. Has 12 extra base hits on the season, also leads the team in RBIs with 32. He did drive in a run yesterday on a fielder's choice, and ahead in the count against Sharp, 2-0. Tim Coet here on the call for My FM 101.3, the 2-0 pitch to Monahan. And now a 3-ball, no-strike count against the Milford cleanup hitter. Alex Reynolds waits on deck. A walk would load the bases for one of Milford's hottest hitters of late. Sharp sets. And the pitch to Monahan, he takes all the way, takes it for a strike. Now the snap throw down to first, and Wild just able to dive back into the bag. Aiden Wild perhaps anticipating that pitch was going to go as ball 4, but grabbed a piece of the plate. But Aiden able to slide safely back into first. And it's a 3-ball, 1-strike count now on Tyler Monahan. Now a hesitation as the shortstop was creeping in behind the second base bag. Monahan now sends this ball out to center field, ranging over a bit towards right is Barron. He makes the catch. Rebello tags and bluffs towards third. But a good strong throw from Barron out into center keeps the runners at first and second now with 2 outs.
Now batting for Milford, the catcher, number 20.
And so another hitless at bat for Monahan. He sent that one a good way out into center, but there was plenty of room out there for the Leominster center fielder Matt Barron to make the catch. And now Milford will look for Alex Reynolds to pick them up here with 2 down. Again, Milford trailing 3-0. If you're just joining us, of course, we jump straight into action here in progress with the Red Sox playing their finale of the first half of the season early in the afternoon. So you had a chance to listen to the full Red Sox action here on MyFM, and now a chance for doubleheader action here from Fino. And the first pitch into Reynolds hits for a called strike. Alex had the lone extra base hit for Milford in the game yesterday. An RBI double in the 6th inning to extend Milford's lead. They ultimately won the game 5-0. Battling back after that tough Cherry Valley defeat. And now a 1-ball, 1-strike count on Reynolds. This game here against Leominster was initially scheduled to be played this past Friday night. But as we have been in a bit of an active weather pattern over the last few days, it's been difficult to get these end of the season Legion games in just at the time where weather can do the most damage. It's been affecting Milford's opportunity to get these final games in. One ball and 1 strike the count. And now the pitch. And you could tell Reynolds was fooled by that one as it dropped in at the knees for a called strike 2. Just left shaking his head as he was frozen on that pitch. So 1 ball and 2 strikes now with 2 down. Milford with runners leading off of first and second base. As Sharp comes to the set, here's the pitch. And this one is sent high in the air off to the left. Will it stay in play? Going over as far as he could was the third baseman Parker Bigelow, but he ran out of room. And it will stay a 1-2 count defensively for Leominster. It's Nick Machado behind the plate, Parker Bigelow at third, Cooper Bigelow at short, Brandon Lefebvre at second, and Connor Wernan at first. Left to right in the outfield, Dom Fusco, Matt Barron, and Sage Bray. All behind their starting pitcher, Richie Sharp. Staked to a 3-0 lead. Has allowed 2 Milford runners on here. And now with 2 outs, about to deal in a 1-ball, 2-strike pitch. Here it comes. And did he hold up on the swing? He did not. Reynolds goes around, fooled on the pitch once again from Sharp. And a strikeout for Reynolds. And that will conclude things here in the top of the first. And we will keep it right here now as we will get you updated on everything that you need to know for this game on the radio side. Again, welcome into coverage of Milford Legion Baseball here on MyFM 101.3. Tim Coet on the call as Milford Post 59 takes on Leominster Post 151. Milford coming into the game with a record of 16-4. Leominster entering action with a record of 18-4. Leominster, the second place team in the zone, while Milford comes in third place. And as for today's starting lineups, first for the visitors, Leominster Post 151. Leading it off is the shortstop Cooper Bigelow. Connor Wernan bats second and plays first base. Brandon Lefebvre, the second baseman, bats third, with Richie Sharp, the starting pitcher, batting cleanup. Matt Barron, the center fielder, bats fifth, with Dom Fusco, the left fielder, batting sixth. Sage Bray bats seventh and plays right field, with Nick Machado catching and batting eighth. And in the ninth spot, playing third base, is Parker Bigelow. We will bring you the Milford starting lineup in the next inning as we will return to action now. And as always, our starting lineups brought to you by Milford National Bank and Trust. Jack Tempesta back on the hill now for the top half of the second inning, looking for better results after allowing 3 runs on 3 hits and a walk in the first inning. And now this ball is driven in the air out to left field, but settling underneath is Michael Farrell. He makes the catch, and the catcher Nick Machado is out number 1. So this time Tempesta able to cut down the leadoff man. And that will bring up now the number 9 hitter, Parker Bigelow, playing third base. He steps in on the right side. And the first pitch of the at-bat from Jack Tempesta misses outside and low for ball 1. Bright sunshine streaming through onto the field for this afternoon game. Starting off our day here against Leominster, we'll conclude later on this evening with Milford's first matchup of the season against Grafton Hill. Here's a 2-0 pitch now into Bigelow, and that misses outside. Now that hit the corner, a late strike call thrown up by the home plate umpire, so a 2-ball, 1-strike count. And now this one misses clearly outside. 3 balls into strike on Parker Bigelow, with Cooper Bigelow waiting on deck. And the pitch from Tempesta is hit on the ground towards second base. It's gobbled up by Almeida. He throws to first. And it's 2 up and 2 down here in the second. 4-3 ground out. Once again, Tyler Almeida getting the call at second base, as Milford's depth, particularly in the middle infield positions, has been tested this season. And with Sanchioni unable to go in this first game, Coach DeVito opting to slide Dawson McMillan back to shortstop, with Tyler Almeida getting the start at second base. And he's looked sure-handed at that position. He's listed solely as a catcher on Milford's roster. And we know that is the position he has played the most at Blackstone Valley Tech. But has looked solid taking over at second base, pressed into service. So once again, Milford showing off some good versatility. And meanwhile, Jack Tempesta is quickly 1 strike away from getting out of this inning in 1-2-3 fashion. And there it is on the outside part of the plate. Cooper Bigelow goes down on 3 pitches. And so what a difference an inning makes for Jack Tempesta after laboring through the top half of the first, allowing 3 runs. Here he sets down the side in order and getting Cooper Bigelow on a strikeout to end the inning. We'll be back with more action next on coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on MyFM 101.3. Welcome back inside Pheno Field, ladies and gentlemen. Bottom half of the second inning now between Milford and Leominster. Milford trailing this game early, 3-0. And certainly good to see Jack Tempesta able to bounce back with a 1-2-3 second inning after Leominster had him on the ropes in the first. So Milford will look to get to Richie Sharp here in the second with Kyle Nocera, Jake LeBlanc, and Tyler Almeida. And again, on the radio side, we're going to have an opportunity to give you Milford's complete starting lineup, which is brought to you by Milford National Bank and Trust. We'll get to that right after this opening at bat. Kyle Nocera batting out of the number 6 spot. About to see an 0-2 pitch, and he sends this one out to shallow center field. A long run in for Barron. He slides, and he makes the catch. A full sprint in straight towards the infield. Came sliding in on the knees and made a nice grab, denying Nocera a leadoff base hit. So again, that full starting lineup for Milford. Sean Rebello leading it off today in center field. Dawson McMillan, the shortstop, bats second. Aiden Wild is the DH batting third, with Tyler Monahan, the first baseman, in the cleanup spot. Alex Reynolds catches and bats fifth. Kyle Nocera, who you just saw, bats sixth and plays right field. And at the plate now, Jake LeBlanc batting seventh, playing third base, followed by Tyler Almeida playing second base and batting eighth. And in the ninth spot, the left fielder, Michael Farrell. A 1-ball, 1-strike count now on LeBlanc, with the bases empty and 1 down. And we do also want to bring you the game time temperature for today's game. And as we have mentioned off and on, much improved weather conditions. We are supremely confident that the conditions here will stay dry throughout both ends of this doubleheader. Here's a 2-1 pitch into LeBlanc. It's swung on and missed. The temperature's warming up a bit, as again we bring you the game time temperature brought to you by Bellingham Electric. It is an even 80 degrees here in the town of Milford. 2-ball, 2-strike pitch and a very late swing for LeBlanc. Almost deciding to take a hack at that ball after it was past him, and he goes down swinging. Richie Sharp with his second strikeout. After Milford fell behind 3-0 in the top of the first inning, they were able to bring the tying run to the plate. in their half of the first. Sean Rebello and Aiden Wild each with singles in the inning, but Richie Sharp able to get out of it, inducing a fly out from Monahan and striking out Alex Reynolds to end the inning. And now a 1-ball, no strike count to Tyler Almeida. Sends this one off the end of the bat out into left center field. A long run for Fusco, but he was able to get there to make the play. Battling very bright sunshine out into left field, but Fusco able to make the catch. And so that is a very quick end to the bottom half of the second inning, as Sharp is able to enjoy a 1-2-3 inning, so no base runners allowed on either side through the second. And we will move right on to inning number 3 when we come back next on this coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on MyFM 101.3. Set to go for the top of inning number 3, Jack Tempesta to face batters 2, 3, and 4. And gets the inning started with a called strike 1 against Connor Wernan, who walked and scored back in the first. And now a swing and a miss. You've seen a big shift in the confidence on the pitcher's mound for Tempesta since that first inning. Setting down the side, 1-2-3 in the second, and now there's a called strike 3 on the inside part of the plate. Nothing Wernan could do about it. And so that's the second straight strikeout. Tempesta with the K for Cooper Bigelow to bring an end to the second, and now opens the third, striking out Wernan. With 1 out, Brandon Lefebvre will step into the box. Lefebvre drove in the first Leominster run in the first inning with a single. And he swings and misses at a pitch that darted down and out of the strike zone. So some deceptive movement on the pitches from Tempesta. And now is 0-1, that misses outside. One ball, 1 strike pitch on the way, and it's sent off the end of the bat, foul off to the left and out of play. And it's a 1-ball, 2-strike count. For those just joining us on the broadcast, Jack Tempesta getting the start in game 1 of the doubleheader, entering today's action with a 1-0 record and a ERA right at 7. Here's this 1-2 pitch, and this is sent hard out to left field, but it hangs up just long enough for Michael Farrell to range in a few steps to make the catch.
Now batting the pitcher, number 18.
It was a sinking line drive off the bat of Lefebvre, but Michael Farrell able to get there in time for the catch, and it's 2 up and 2 down in the Leominster third. And it will now be pitcher versus pitcher as Richie Sharp digs in on the right side. And Tempesta's first pitch to his counterpart is a called strike 1. Control very sharp for Tempesta over these last 2 innings. So now this ball is sent on the ground towards third. A bobble for LeBlanc. Can he recover? Here's his throw to first, and it gets there in time. That went in and out of the glove for LeBlanc at third, but he didn't panic and sent an accurate throw to Monahan at first for the out that ends the inning. A second consecutive 1-2-3 frame for Tempesta, now settling down into this outing. But Milford continues to trail Leominster by a score of 3-0 as we move on here in our coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on MyFM 101.3. Post 59 trying to get the offense in gear. They saw a 4-game winning streak come to an end in the second game of their doubleheader on Thursday. And the 4 games on that winning streak, Milford scored in the first inning in each contest and ultimately saw their run total balloon out as the game went on. It's been a different story over these last 3 games, but now Michael Farrell swinging at the first pitch takes aim at the left center field gap. A long run for Fusco. He can't get there, and it will be extra bases for Farrell as he stops at second with a leadoff double. That was off the end of the bat for Farrell, but he was able to get enough muscle on it to send it over the reach of the left fielder Dom Fusco. And so Farrell opens the inning with a 2-base hit. Milford's 3rd hit against Richie Sharp. And now it's back up to the top spot in the lineup, Sean Rebello. And Rebello takes the first pitch for a called strike. Sean singled to the opposite field his first time up. Sharp, the tall right-hander, sets high. Brings it down to the belt now as he looks down to second base. Fires to the plate. And that pitch misses low. And that evens the count at 1. Milford with a runner in scoring position to open up the bottom half of the third. And now a 2-ball, 1-strike count for Rebello, who's seen the batting average steadily climb here over the second half of the season. Coming into today, batting .347 and just 3 hits behind Tyler Monahan for the team lead. Here's the 2-1 pitch. And that's down low, 3-1. And of course, after his single in the first inning, Rebello now with 26 hits. So just 2 back of Monahan. 3 balls and 1 strike to the batter. And now the pitch. And that misses for ball 4. So a double and now a walk. That put the first 2 runners on in the inning for post 59. And they will now bring the tying run to the plate for the second time in the game. This time in the form of Dawson McMillan. McMillan slowly stepping up to the left side batter's box. Dawson popped out to left field his first time up. And now Sharp slowing down the pace on the pitcher's mound, ready with his first pitch to McMillan. It's a bunt out towards the mound. Sharp can't play it cleanly, and now everyone will be safe. That ball bunted towards the left side of the pitcher's mound. Sharp was able to get to it quickly. He had eyes on flipping the throw to third base to cut down the lead runner, but he ended up leaving the baseball behind, and as a result, everyone is safe, and the bases are loaded with nobody out for Aiden Wild. I think that should go as a bunt base hit for McMillan. So he continues to hit the ball well here in the second half. If that does indeed go in the books as a base hit, and we'll continue to see the batting average climb. McMillan bringing a .315 average into the game today. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count on Wild, who singled his first time up. And now Wild sends a ground ball to shortstop, and it clanks out of the glove of Cooper Bigelow. It ends up right around the second base bag, so a break for Leominster. Bounced out of the glove of Cooper Bigelow, but right to Lefebvre, who was at the second base bag, so they are able to get the force out of McMillan at second base. And that'll save an error for Bigelow, but meanwhile, in from third to score comes Michael Farrell. So Milford is able to get on the scoreboard. It's now 3-1. Rebello advancing to third. Wild safe at first on the fielder's choice. He'll get an RBI. And now immediately takes off for second base as the first pitch just barely grazes the inside part of the plate for a strike against Monahan, but no throw down to second. A steal for Wild to put now 2 men in scoring position. The tying runs at second and third now for Milford. As Monahan fights that ball foul off to the right. Tyler maybe pressing at the plate just a bit for the first time this season. He's in an otherworldly groove for those first 18 games. 0 for 1 today. And now down in the count, 0-2. And Sharp's pitch, a breaking ball that stays very high And a good job by Nick Machado, the catcher, to keep that one from going to the backstop. Holding Sean Ribello at third base for the moment. Ribello leading off of third. Wild off of second. And now the 1-2 pitch is chopped foul. Bounces over towards the visitors on deck area. Monahan with 32 runs batted in, also terrific numbers with runners in scoring position, batting .533. He has 2 men in scoring position right now. And another 1-2 pitch. Monahan able to hold up on the swing. They will check over towards the infield umpire, who says no swing. Nick Machado, the catcher, not happy with the call. He had applied the tag on Monahan. Thought he had the strike 3 call. Instead, the count goes to 2-2. Another hesitation by Sharp on the mound. Now here's his pitch, and it's sent foul over the backstop. Sailing over the bleachers behind home plate, and it stays a 2-ball, 2-strike count. Barely a cloud in the sky overhead at Fino right now. As Monahan awaits another 2-2 pitch. He lets that one go. It nearly clips him on the elbow. He was just able to pull the arms in. And that fills the count to Milford's cleanup hitter. 3 balls and 2 strikes. We'll see if Sharp goes after him. First base is open. And now the payoff pitch. And Monahan drives the ball out to center field deep, sending Barron back. And he is able to get there to make the catch. Tagging at third base is Ribello. He scores as Aiden Wild is able to advance to third base. That one was well hit by Monahan. Barron able to race back deep out in center field to make the play, but Monahan will be credited with a sacrifice fly. And that cuts the deficit now to a single run. It's now 3-2 in favor of Leominster. And RBI number 33 on the season for Tyler Monahan. And we'll see a pitching change here for Leominster. That's a little surprising to see. Richie Sharp, who was dominant against Milford in game number 1 on the season after running into a little bit of trouble here, he is going to get pulled from the game. This is also Leominster's final game of the regular season, so they may be trying to get some work in for a couple of arms here, as they know now they'll have at least a day or 2 before their playoff run begins. So we will see the pitching change made here. And we'll give you the name of the relief pitcher for Leominster in just a moment. So Richie Sharp ultimately lasts just 2 2/3 innings. Allows a pair of runs for Milford on 4 hits. And he will be responsible for Aiden Wild at third. Not lasting long enough in this game to qualify for a victory. So taking over on the mound now is David Newhouse. He makes his warm-up tosses. Another righty arm for Coach Dedian and this Leominster 151 squad. And as we told you off the top, a very talented pitching staff top to bottom for Leominster post 151. They've allowed the fewest runs in Zone 4 this season, on average allowing less than 2.5 runs per game to their opponents. And you take a look up and down their season schedule, you see a lot of zeros. There have been a lot of shutouts for this Leominster pitching staff. In fact, they had a stretch from June 17th to the 25th, where they shut out 4 teams in a row and 5 out of 6. So that goes to show you just how dominant their pitching has been. So Coach Didion has to feel very confident about his group heading into these zone playoffs. Leominster did suffer a loss to Shrewsbury last night. They lost that game by a final score of 5-4. So that gave Leominster a 4th loss on the season. Tied in the loss column with Milford coming into the day today. And so now Newhouse is through with his warm-up tosses. He is ready to face Alex Reynolds with the tying run at third base and 2 outs in the bottom of the 3rd. And the first pitch misses low for a 1-0 count on Reynolds, who struck out back in the 1st inning. Now watches a fastball also narrowly missed the strike zone. 2 balls and no strikes. Back into the windup and the pitch. Sent foul and out of play. And for Leominster, you know, they don't want to go into the playoffs with 2 of their final losses on the season coming against 2 of their other top opponents in the standings, already losing to Shrewsbury last night. So you know they want to try to come in here to Fino Field and pull out a victory to go into the playoffs with some momentum. Milford on the other side, still trying to jockey for position. Coach DeVito saying before the game, Milford cannot do any worse than 3rd place heading into the playoffs. So we know we will see some combination of Shrewsbury, Leominster, and Milford in those top 3 seeding positions in the zone playoffs. It's just a question of where they will fall as the 3-1 pitch into Alex Reynolds hits on the outside edge. So now a full count. Aiden Wild doing some dancing down the line at 3rd on that last pitch. Now the 3-2, and it is foul tipped into the mitt of Nick Machado. And for the 2nd time today, Alex Reynolds will strike out to end an inning. But Milford able to battle back for a pair of runs on the fielder's choice play from Aiden Wild, the sacrifice fly from Tyler Monahan. And after 3 innings of play from Fino Field, it is now Leominster 3 and Milford 2 on coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on MyFM 101.3. Now into the top half of the 4th inning from Fino. Leominster will send batters 5, 6, and 7 to the plate. And ball 1 out of the hand of Jack Tempesta to get the inning started. Jack has retired the last 8 hitters he's faced, but that will come to an end here as this one is sent just out of the reach of Dawson McMillan at shortstop. Leaping to try to make the catch, but Matt Barron sending that one out to shallow left field for a base hit. Tempesta able to set down the side in order in both the 2nd and 3rd innings. That's his first hit allowed since the 1st. Leominster now with 4 hits in the game, as now this pickoff throw briefly gets away from Tyler Monahan, dribbles out to the edge of the infield dirt, but no further advance from Barron, who had dove back into the bag. Milford able to get 2 runs on 2 hits in the bottom half of the 3rd inning, as now this ball is sent in the air out to right field. Looked like Nocera initially had trouble picking up the baseball with the bright skies overhead, but eventually was able to make the catch. So Dom Fusco popping out on the first pitch from Tempesta. Barron remains at first base. Now Sage Bray at the dish. And he takes the first pitch for a called strike 1. Bray popped out to shallow right field his first time up. Finally bringing an end to the 1st inning after Leominster sent 7 batters to the plate. Runner takes off from first as this one is swatted on the ground towards shortstop. A nice play from McMillan. Another high throw, but Monahan able to pull it down, maintaining contact with the bag. And Bray is out at first base. No chance to turn 2 with Barron off on the pitch.
Now batting the catcher, number 16, Nick Machado.
And so that out going 6-3. Seen some of those throws from shortstop sail on McMillan a bit, but he has a big target over at first base with Monahan playing there today. He used every bit of his height to haul in that high throw and also keep the foot contacted with the first base bag. So 2 outs in the inning, a runner at second base, Nick Machado, the catcher, at the plate. And he is quickly down in the count, 0-2. Tempesta trying to work around that leadoff base hit. As Tempesta sets. Now his 0-2 pitch, it's popped up on the infield towards the right side. It's the first baseman Monahan who makes the catch. And that is all for the top half of the 4th inning. So 1 hit for Leominster, but that's all they get against Tempesta. And we'll move right on to the home half of the 4th inning here at Pheno Field with your score 3-2 in favor of Leominster on coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on MyFM 101.3. Leominster with 3 runs on 4 hits and no errors. Milford 2 runs on 4 hits with no errors. Leominster getting all 3 of their runs in the top of the 1st inning. Jack Tempesta greeted rudely, but since then has really settled down nicely into this ball game. He's allowed just 1 base runner over the last 3 innings. Milford able to grab 2 runs the last time they came to the plate. They trail by a run as Kyle Nocera leads off the bottom of the 4th inning against David Newhouse, who came on to finish off the final 2/3 of that bottom of the 3rd inning. And again, probably a situation where Leominster wants to give a couple of different guys some work here leading into the playoffs, as this is their last game of the season. It's a 1-ball, 2-strike count now on Kyle Nocera, who popped out to center field his last time up. Here's the next pitch, and that one misses inside. And looked like Newhouse might have come down awkwardly on the front of the pitcher's mound after he delivered that ball. He was either grabbing at his knee or maybe the hamstring area. But he shakes off the coaching staff, says he's okay, now fires in another pitch that misses down and outside. This field here at Pheno once again in tip-top shape. Again, a lot of rain yesterday, but the field drying out quickly. Of course, the coaching staff and the Parks Department working hard to get it back in order as that pitch hits on the outside part of the plate for a called strike 3. Nocera stood there for a moment in disbelief, but he takes with him another Milford strikeout. We saw 2 Ks out of the starter, Richie Sharp. Newhouse able to end the 3rd inning with a K and now opens up this inning. Striking out Kyle Nocera. And now Jake LeBlanc very quickly retired. And there are 2 outs in the inning. So all of a sudden, Newhouse making quick work of this Milford lineup. One ball and no strikes the count. Tyler Almeida batting now with the bases empty and 2 down. Almeida flew out to left field his first time up, now ahead 2 balls and no strikes. Milford did have Nate Irwin loosening up in their bullpen. Coach DeVito also expecting to use just about every arm in his arsenal here over these final days. Just try to get everybody some work. Here's a 3-0 pitch. And that's in for a strike. Bit of a deliberate call onto the home plate umpire on these strikes today. Now a 3-1 offering, that misses well outside, and Almeida able to reach on the walk. So after the first 2 batters were retired in the inning, See Almeida reach to keep it alive. And Michael Farrell now at the plate. Drilled a double out to left field to lead off last inning and came around to score the first Milford run. So Michael Farrell now, who has seen intermittent action in the lineup, really has made the most of his time at the plate. Now 8 hits through 29 at-bats. He has a pair of doubles, 3 runs batted in, and now 4 runs scored after he came around to touch home plate last inning. Almeida, a leadoff of first base, a 1-ball, 1-strike count to Farrell, batting out of the number 9 spot in the lineup today. This time pops one out, a lazy fly ball out to shallow center field, and Barron has no problem making the catch. And that will conclude things in the bottom of the 4th inning. So Milford gets a 2-out base runner, but they cannot do anything with it. And we're through with 4 innings of play now, and it remains a 3-2 score. Milford trailing Leominster on coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on MyFM 101.3. Already into the top half of the 5th inning now, as Leominster will send batters 9, 1, and 2 to the plate against Jack Tempesta. Parker Bigelow getting his 2nd at-bat of this afternoon game. Grounded out 4-3 his first time up. And now a 1-ball, 1-strike count. So Tempesta back out there now for his 5th inning. And his next pitch is in for a called strike. It's been a completely different pitcher since that first inning. Now just hoping that his offense has a chance to make a comeback. This ball sent weakly on the ground again towards second base. Almeida, he's able to look it into the glove and flips it to first. And for the 2nd time today, Parker Bigelow out on a 4-3 ground out. Pitch count up to 67 in the game now for Tempesta, but a drastic difference in the pitches thrown by inning as he fires strike 1 now into Cooper Bigelow. 35 pitches thrown in the first inning for Tempesta. Since then, 10 pitches in the 2nd and 9 in both the 3rd and the 4th. So he has been very efficient over now the last 3 1/3 innings. A 1-ball, 1-strike count as he goes 3rd time through the Leominster order, and a hard ground ball sent foul wide of 3rd base. And Milford trying to even the season series against Post 151, losing 6-2 back on opening day. Here's the 1-2 pitch, and this is shot out to left field. That's in front of Farrell. And Bigelow now 2 for 3 on the day as he singles with 1 down in the 5th. That first game all the way back on the 11th of June. Leominster able to score 2 runs in the 3rd inning. They scored 4 runs in the 5th to give themselves a comfortable lead. Milford battled back with single runs in the 5th and the 7th, but could not muster much against Richie Sharp, who ended up going the distance in that game. Here today only went the first 2 2/3. Michael Farrell got the start on the Milford side in that opening day game. He ended up going 4 1/3 innings. He allowed all 6 runs, 5 of them earned on 7 hits, walked 3 and struck out 3. As now this ball is hit hard through the right side of the infield off the bat of Connor Wernan. The throw briefly gets away from the cutoff man, but backed up by the pitcher. So that's consecutive hits now off of Tempesta, and Coach DeVito now out of the dugout. Singles from Cooper Bigelow and now Connor Wernan, putting runners at first and second base with 1 out. And we'll see if it's a quick hook here for Coach DeVito. Right now, looks like he might leave him in there. Typically we see Coach DeVito immediately go for the baseball if it's going to be a pitching change, but right now with his arm around Tempesta as he talks things over, this is really the first sign of trouble for Tempesta since that first inning. He's now allowed a total of 6 hits in the game, and Coach DeVito will leave the right-hander out there to face Leominster's number 3 hitter, Brandon Lefebvre, who's batting 1 for 2 today, had an RBI single in the first inning, also came around to score a run. Leominster with runners at first and second base with 1 out. And the first pitch into the righty, Lefebvre, is fouled away towards the backstop. So Coach DeVito showing a lot of confidence in his first-year starter, Jack Tempesta. See if he can get out of this jam. Here's the 0-1 pitch, and it's right back up the middle. That's through for a base hit. They will wave Bigelow around from second base as the throw comes in to the cutoff man. And another RBI single for Brandon Lefebvre, his second hit and his second run batted in of the day, as Leominster now is able to jump up to a 4-2 lead. So the bat's able to wake back up as Richie Sharp will bat here. So apparently we have had a defensive change in this game that has snuck past our field of vision here in the press box, as now this ball is sent on the ground towards shortstop. It's gobbled up by Dawson McMillan, but his throw into the dirt at first base, Monahan was able to reel it in, but not before Sharp was able to get to first base safely. That took a tough hop on McMillan deep at shortstop. He had to smother it and quickly get to his feet and fire to first. Monahan couldn't pick the ball on the back end. And so now that will be the game for Jack Tempesta after allowing now 4 straight base runners. So really settled down nicely over the second, third, and fourth innings, but now running out of steam here in the fifth. So Coach DeVito will turn it over to the bullpen. It's a 4-2 Leominster lead. Just 1 out in this top of the fifth inning. We'll pause, and we'll be back with more next on MyFM 101.3. It is Nate Irwin now on to pitch for post 59. Irwin taking over for the starting pitcher, Jack Tempesta, who ended up going 4 1/3 innings. Was able to get the first out in the fifth, but then 3 straight singles to plate a run for Leominster, and then Richie Sharp reaching on the error at shortstop by McMillan. So it is a bases loaded 1-out situation inherited by Irwin, who now makes his 7th relief appearance of the season. He's made 8 appearances now, but one of them was a spot start. And Irwin's first pitch comes right around the eye level of Matt Barron. A 1-ball, no strike count. Barron is 2 for 2, a pair of singles and also a run batted in. Now takes a strike on the outside part of the plate. Nate Irwin, a 1.34 ERA in 15 2/3 innings pitched. And now this ball is flared out to right field. That's big trouble, down for a hit. 1 run will score as Wernan crosses the plate. Lefebvre right behind. Richie Sharp will stop at third base. It is a 2-run single for Matt Barron. And just like that, it's up to a 6-2 lead for post 151. Not hit particularly hard, but it did the job, bringing in Wernan from third base, Lefebvre around from second. And now we will see David Newhouse come to the plate in the number 6 spot in the lineup. So Fusco now out of the game as this one sails on Nate Irwin, gets past the glove of Alex Reynolds, and that will allow another Leominster run to score as Sharp will come in on the wild pitch. That one uncorked by Irwin, well outside. And so the wild pitch now makes it 7-2. So Milford falling behind early in this game 3-0. They cut the deficit to 3-2, but now another big inning for Leominster in the 5th. And so you can now close the book on Jack Tempesta, as he is responsible for all 7 of Leominster's runs. Now the lone runner on the bases is Matt Barron. He is at second base. And a 2-ball, no-strike count to Newhouse, who takes that pitch low. And the command has not been sharp for Nate Irwin since coming into the game. A long look in now for Nate. Ready to deliver a 3-0 pitch. And that's in for a strike. Jack Tempesta ended up throwing 76 pitches. But again, 35 of those coming in the first inning. Irwin now on the hill. Here's his 3-1 pitch to Newhouse, and it's on the ground towards shortstop. McMillan has it. His throw to first is right on target. And Newhouse, the pinch hitter, retired 6-3. Barron had to hold at second base with that ball hit to the left side, so he's there now with 2 outs. And Sage Bray will now dig in. Bray has popped out and grounded out so far in his 2 at-bats. He is the 8th Leominster hitter to come to the plate in the top of the 5th. And he takes a called strike. Now the 0-1 from Irwin, and that's on the outside edge. And he's able to jump ahead 0-2, trying to end the damage here. The runner at second base, here's the 0-2 pitch, and Bray just able to foul that one off. So it will be 7 runs allowed through 4 1/3 innings for Tempesta, the starter. 6 of those runs earned. He allowed 7 hits, walked 1, and struck out 2. And now too much time taken for the relief pitcher, Nate Irwin. Irwin allowing a pair of, or I should say a trio of inherited runners to score here in the inning, but now Sage Bray sends one out to shallow center field. Out goes Dawson McMillan. He slides with his back towards home plate and is able to make the catch. It was McMillan racing out to center field. Rebello coming in. He was playing deep, so the shortstop makes the play, and Dawson McMillan, a very nice sliding catch for the final out of the inning. So Milford able to escape further damage, but they do allow 4 runs to Leominster in the 5th, and it is now a 7-2 score with Leominster in front of Milford here on My FM 101.3. Leominster now with 7 runs on 8 hits, no errors. Milford just 2 runs on 4 hits with an error. As David Newhouse returns to the mound for Leominster now with a heftier lead for his team, now 7-2. He allowed a walk last inning with 2 outs to Tyler Almeida. That's the only runner he has allowed since coming into the game. He came in with the tying run at third base and 2 outs in the 3rd, was able to strike out Alex Reynolds. Ended up walking 1 and striking out 1 in a scoreless inning in the 4th. And he will now face the top of the Milford lineup, Rebello, McMillan, and Wild, as it is now a 5-run deficit for Milford to make up. having trouble again scoring off of this tough Leominster pitching staff. Rebello sends a high fly ball out to right field towards the line, but that is a foul ball. And once again, we see Sean Rebello taking aim at the opposite field. Really seems to be his comfort zone this season. Down 0-1 as Newhouse goes back into the windup. His pitch and Rebello backing up, but it cut back towards the plate for a called strike 2. Now the 0-2 pitch, that comes too far inside on Rebello, and the count goes to 1-2. If you are just joining us, we're in the midst of a triple header of baseball action here on MyFM. We started off with Red Sox baseball as this 1-2 pitch misses outside to Rebello. The Red Sox with a tough loss in a back-and-forth game to the Tampa Bay Rays, a 5-3 final, so the Red Sox end up losing 3 out of 4 in Tampa going into the All-Star break. The 2-2 pitch to Rebello is smacked out to center field, but that hangs up for Barron, as he will make the catch. And we should also note that the defensive alignment for Leominster, and it snuck by us earlier in the game, my apologies, but it is now Sage Bray who has moved from right field to left field, with Richie Sharp, the starting pitcher, now out in right. So that is why we saw Sharp come to the plate in the top half of the 5th inning. So Dom Fusco out of the game. 1 out and the base is empty for post 59. Dawson McMillan at the plate, reached on a bunt single his last time up. But back to that triple header coverage. So Red Sox baseball earlier this afternoon, and now into our first of 2 games for Milford Legion baseball on the docket for today. Milford taking on Leominster here, where we're getting into the later stages in the bottom of the 5th inning with Milford trailing 7-2. They'll turn right around and play a game against Grafton Hill later on today, with an expected first pitch time around 7 o'clock. And a ball low to McMillan, who's now ahead in the count 3-1. Dawson so far today popped out to left and then reached on that bunt single in the 3rd. Here's the 3-1 pitch. McMillan going after it with a swing and a miss, and that will bring the count full. The payoff pitch from Newhouse, and that is low for ball 4. And Milford will certainly take the base runner, as McMillan is on for the 2nd time. That's the 2nd walk for Newhouse. No walks in the first 2 2/3 innings from Richie Sharp. So a 1-out base runner for Milford now for Aiden Wild, who has reached base twice, a single in the 1st, reached on a fielder's choice in the 3rd, ended up driving in a run. He also stole a base in the inning. Watches the first pitch go for ball 1 against Newhouse. Righty reliever facing the right-handed swinging Aiden Wild, the soon-to-be senior at Milford High School. Now that pitch up and away for a ball, and a quick snap throw from Machado to first, but McMillan dives back. It's a 2-0 count on Wild. And I'm sure it comes as a surprise to a lot of people that Aiden Wild still has a year left in high school. He has been on the baseball scene here for both Milford High School and Milford Legion for so long. I know a lot of opposing teams are certainly ready for Aiden Wild to be graduated, but still 1 more year left to go in high school. He's been a factor on the varsity team for each of his 3 years to this point at Milford High. Now in his 3rd year with this Legion program. Two and 1 the count after that foul ball. Again, a big lead at first base for McMillan. He holds as the pitch is on the outside corner for a called strike 2. Good pitch from Newhouse. Had plenty of the plate. Tyler Monahan on deck. As Newhouse sets, here's his pitch, and that misses high. And another full count. After walking Dawson McMillan, he's gone to a 3-2 count against Aiden Wild. McMillan a lead at first. He goes as this ball is hit high in the air out to center field, sending Barron back. Still going back. It's over his head and rolling off towards the goalpost out in deep center field. McMillan will score. They are waving Aiden Wild all the way around. He will try to score, and he will without a throw. It's an inside the park 2-run home run for Aiden Wild, and that cuts the deficit to 7-4. Well, you know just how deep the center field dimensions are here at Pheno Field, so if one gets over your head, it has plenty of room to roam. That ball rolling all the way out to those goalposts in dead center field, and Aiden Wild, who can fly, you could see he was sensing inside the park home run right out of the box and was able to circle the bases. No throw in towards the plate. So an easy inside the parker for Aiden Wild. And so 2 runs back for Milford. It's now a 7-4 game. So after all of the outside the park home runs that Milford has hit this season, that's their first inside the park job. And overall now for Aiden Wild, that's home run number 3. So he ties Tyler Monahan for the team lead. Monahan now at the plate with the bases empty. So that 2-run single for Matt Barron really looming large in the top half of this 5th inning. Also an additional runner scoring on a wild pitch as Monahan bounces one to shortstop. Ranging over to make the play is Cooper Bigelow, and his throw to first base gets there in time. And Tyler Monahan now 0 for 2. He did have a sacrifice fly his last time up. But still waiting for Tyler to break back out after seeing the hitting streak come to an end, and now in danger of going hitless in 3 straight. Now 1 ball and no strikes, the count to Alex Reynolds. Alex has had a quiet day today, a pair of strikeouts. One of them coming against the starter Richie Sharp, and one of them coming against Newhouse. At the time stranding the tying run at third base. 1-1 now the count. And now a foul ball, and that, I believe, clipped the home plate umpire. Both Machado and the home plate umpire reacting to it, and now Machado will hand deliver the baseball back to the pitcher's mound, so giving the home plate ump a chance to recover from that harsh foul tip. Came right back, might have clipped him on the shoulder. And now Machado making sure the umpire is okay. And he is set to continue now. It's a 1 ball, 2 strike count on Reynolds as we're set to resume. Righty into the windup. Here's the pitch, and that misses just outside. That 2-run inside the park home run, cutting the deficit now to 3. And the pitch into Reynolds is hit hard out to left field, but Sage Bray is there to make the catch, and that will be the final out in the bottom half of the 5th inning. But Milford is able to get 2 back as Aiden Wild was able to come all the way around on a 2-run inside the park home run. But we will head to the 6th inning with Milford trailing Leominster by a score of 7-4 on coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on MyFM 101.3. Milford now with 4 runs on 5 hits. After grabbing a couple back in their half of the 5th inning, but still trail this game 7-4 as we enter into the top half of the 6th. Nate Irwin back to the mound. Took over for Jack Tempesta last inning, allowed 3 inherited runners to score, excuse me. Allowed a 2-run single to Matt Barron, allowed a runner to come home on a wild pitch before he eventually collected the final 2 outs of the inning.
Leominster, number 1.
But now a clean frame where he will face batters 8, 9, and 1. And we'll see a pinch hitter now on the Leominster side. As the first pitch misses low. Rocco Pandicio, who sends a fly ball out to left field. Racing back and making the catch is Kyle Nocera, who is now in left field. So a defensive change coming into this inning.
Now batting the third baseman, number 4.
Looks like it might be Zach Sasitsky who's taken over in right. Can't quite get a good look at the uniform number as this ball skips to the backstop. Now with Parker Bigelow, the number 9 hitter, at the plate. And now another foul ball to the backstop, making it a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Base is empty with 1 down. And now a 2-ball, 1-strike count on Bigelow, who was grounded out to second base twice today. And now 3-1 as the last 2 pitches have been snapped off in the dirt by Nate Irwin. He's back into his windup. The 3-1 pitch is hit slowly towards the right side. It gets past the pitcher, and Tyler Almeida making a great effort as he came streaking in, backed up the play, sent a quick throw to first base, but Parker Bigelow, able to just beat that out. And in hindsight, Irwin probably would have been better off just leaving that one to the second baseman, as in the end, Almeida was almost able to pull off a great play, but after Irwin slowed the ball down just a bit, ends up as what should go as an infield single. So Bigelow's first hit in 3 trips to the plate. So Parker at first, Cooper Bigelow at the plate, a 1-ball, no-strike count. And now 2-0. So the command a little bit shaky in these last 2 at-bats for Irwin. And now another pitch down in the dirt. 3-0. The bullpen is quiet right now for post 59. Of course, they do have another game to get through after this one. And now there is a strike, bringing the count to 3-1. Runner with a short lead off of first, as this one is sent in the air out to left field. Racing into the gap is Nocera. He's there to make the catch. And it's 2 outs now in the top of the 6th, as Cooper Bigelow is retired. So Nocera switching from right field to left field for this inning. He's been able to make the first 2 outs. Now Connor Wernan at the plate. And he takes the first pitch outside for ball 1. Wernan walked and scored a run in the first inning. He struck out looking in the 3rd and then singled and scored in that 4-run 5th inning for post 151. The 1-0 pitch hit hard back up the middle and just over the glove of Nate Irwin out into center field. And fortunate that both Nate and the infield umpire were able to avoid that scorching liner. Nate able to get the head out of the way. He still stuck the glove up for good measure to try to make the play, but that one too hard hit. Quickly got past him and also nearly made contact with the infield umpire on its way back up the middle. So 2 hits in the inning now for Leominster. They've got runners at first and second base with 2 outs. It's Parker Bigelow at second base with Connor Wernan at first, and now a chance for Brandon Lefebvre, who has been Leominster's most dangerous hitter so far in this one. The number 3 man has a pair of RBI singles, 2 runs scored, 2 for 3 overall at the plate. Now the 0-1 pitch is hit softly back up the middle. Waiting for it is Almeida. He flips to McMillan at the second base bag for the force out that ends the inning. So ultimately, Leominster will strand those 2 runners on in the 6th inning. They failed to score, so it keeps it at a 7-4 margin. Milford with work to do and only 6 outs left in this one. We'll head to the bottom of the 6th inning when we return on My FM 101.3. Into now the bottom half of the 6th inning. Milford running low on time to mount a comeback. And they will now face the 3rd arm of the day for Leominster post 151, as we will see Sage Bray come in from left field to take over on the hill. And it looks like Nick White will take over for Bray out in left. It's the only corresponding defensive change we can see at the moment. Although now at closer look, it appears that Richie Sharp may now be at first base. So Connor Wernan now with a different position. Looks like Wernan now might be out in right field, with Barron still in center. So Sage Bray now the 3rd arm used. And he will face batters 6, 7, and 8 in the Milford lineup. And strike 1 issued into Nocera. 2 1/3 innings of relief for David Newhouse. The only runs he allowed was on the 2-run inside the park homer from Aiden Wild last inning, as Nocera now hits one on a big bounce deep in the hole at shortstop. A long throw and a nice play from Cooper Bigelow to get the out. Fielded that one on the move deep in the hole at shortstop, was able to plant his feet and sent a seed over to first base, right on target to get the out. And so with 1 out now, Jake LeBlanc to the plate. Ball 1 sent in to LeBlanc. He is 0 for 2 today with a strikeout and a line out. Another right-hander on the mound for Leominster. This ball hit hard to third base, snagged on the backhand by Parker Bigelow. His long throw across pulls the first baseman off the bag. Sharp unable to apply the tag, and LeBlanc able to beat it out. And so Parker Bigelow had to travel all the way to the edge of the infield dirt. That one just inside fair territory behind third base, and then sent the throw to first. It was just to the right field side, pulling Sharp off the bag. He couldn't swipe the tag back down in time. So LeBlanc reaches. And now a pinch runner for LeBlanc at first base. It is Jack Swift. As now first pitch swinging, Almeida sends one out to left field. Misjudging it at first was White, but he's able to recover just in time to make the catch. Took a very unusual route to that ball. Started ranging to his left, then in a panic had to take a couple of steps back, but he was able to make the catch. And so Almeida, despite solid contact is out number 2.
Now batting, Michael Farrell, number 7.
Runner remains at first base with 2 outs for the number 9 hitter Michael Farrell. Milford now down to their last 4 outs as Farrell takes the first pitch inside for ball 1. Farrell 1 for 2. He doubled and scored his first time up, now slaps one on the ground towards shortstop. The play made by Bigelow. He flips to second base, takes the short route for the force play to end the inning. So the 1-out base runner does not pay dividends for post 59 as they go quietly in the bottom of the 6th inning, and it will be a 7-4 Leominster lead into the 7th. And we will have that 7th inning for you when we come back next on coverage of Milford Legion baseball on MyFM 101.3. It's been a lot of moving parts in this game over the later innings, and several of them to report now on the Milford side. Post 59 will now utilize a 3rd arm in this game themselves as Michael Farrell will take over. Farrell, who has been a staple in the starting rotation, now making his first relief appearance, his 2nd appearance of the season against this Leominster team. And some corresponding defensive changes. It was Jonathan Rice and not Zach Sasitsky who had taken over in right field last inning. He now moves over to left to replace Farrell. Nocera back to his original position in right field. And taking over at first base is Aiden Wild, as Milford will now lose the services of the DH for the rest of the game. So Wild replaces Monahan, so now Monahan out for the rest of this one. Milford will have the top of their order due up in the 7th inning, but first they have to get there. Farrell facing batters 4, 5, and 6 in the Leominster order, and sends ball 1 in to Richie Sharp. This, of course, was the pitching matchup when these two teams met on opening day. Farrell for Milford, Sharp for Leominster. Sharp getting the start again here today, but just a short one. He has since taken over defensively, first in right field and now at first base. It's a 2-ball, 1-strike count. And the pitch is bounced back up the middle. Over for it is Almeida. He can't play it cleanly, and Sharp will reach. Almeida taking several steps over to his right towards the second base bag. Was initially able to get it into the glove, but then it popped back out. And so Sharp able to reach on the E4, and he will now be lifted for a pinch runner, as it will be Tristan Deschaines who takes over at first base. And now ball 1 to the plate for Matt Barron. This game starting to take on the feel of a Major League Baseball spring training game with all of the personnel that has been filtered in and out over the course of this one. 2 balls and no strikes now the count to Barron. Barron 3 for 3. And now a snap throw over to first base, but Wild was in front of the bag. And Deschaines able to get back to first. So it's been Lefebvre and Barron who have supplied a lot of the offense. Barron with an RBI single in the first, a 2-run single in the 5th. 3 for 3 overall, and now hits one in the air out to right field, sending Nocera back. Now underneath, he makes the catch. And so for the first time today, Matt Barron retired.
Number 11, Tristan Deschaines.
That runner remains at first base with now 1 out. And another pinch hitter to come to the plate as Nick White, who took over in left field defensively last inning, will now come to the plate. The lefty at the plate. And Farrell deals in a called strike one. So we've seen 3 different Leominster hitters in this number 6 spot in the lineup. Dom Fusco went 0 for 1, did drive in a run with a sac fly. And it was David Newhouse who grounded out in the 5th inning. And now Nick White, who sends a fly ball in foul ground behind third base. And so that is actually Tyler Monahan at third base making the play. So I beg your pardon, it is Jake LeBlanc who is now out of the game, with Monahan shifting from first to third. It's been tough to keep up with all of the defensive changes, so Monahan now at third, catching that foul pop-up. And now a swinging strike one for Sage Bray. Bray so far today has popped out to right, grounded out to short, and was robbed of a hit by a terrific sliding catch out onto the outfield by Dawson McMillan. The runner takes off from first, and the throw down, it short hops the bag, and that makes the difference. If that one had gotten into the glove of Almeida in the air, it was there in time to get the out, but taking that bounce in front of second base allowed DeShanes to slide in safely with the steal. So now into scoring position with a 1-ball, 1-strike count on Bray, who is now on the mound. Ended up pitching a scoreless inning of relief in the 6th, allowing 1 infield hit. A 1-ball, 2-strike count now on the batter. The windup from Farrell and the pitch. Hit on the ground towards second base. A clean play this time for Almeida. A bit of a low throw to first base, but Wild able to handle it. And that out will end the inning. So a scoreless inning of work for Michael Farrell, which will send us on to the bottom half of the 7th inning with Milford trailing Leominster 7-4. The last chance for the post-59 offense when we come back next on My FM 101.3. Bottom of the 7th now here at Pheno Field. Tim Coet with you on the call for game 1 of a doubleheader. Quickly reaching the hour of 6 o'clock. This game now 2 hours old. We're about 60 minutes away from the scheduled start time for game number 2. Have not seen any signs of the Grafton Hill team in the house just yet. So right now that 7 o'clock first pitch time for game 2, a bit fluid. But first some work to do for Milford here in the 7th, hoping for a last inning comeback. They'll have the top of their order at the plate against Sage Bray on the hill. And Sean Rebello takes the first pitch for a called strike one. Sean so far today has singled, walked, and flown out to center. Milford trailing by 3. And now Rebello sticks the bat out at that one, sends it foul behind first base, and assistant coach Brendan Wynn trying to get out of the way of that ball, but it still found him. Just soft contact for the Milford first base coach. And now an 0-2 count to Rebello. As Bray, the tall righty, winds and fires. And this one lifted in the air out to right field, racing over is Wernan, and he makes the catch. And Milford down to their final 2 outs. As Rebello is retired, now 1 for 3 on the day. And that brings Dawson McMillan to the plate for the 4th time. He is 1 for 2. He walked and scored on the Aiden Wild inside the park home run his last time up. Takes a pitch outside for ball 1. Aiden Wild, the man on deck. Milford trying to get a couple of runners on here to bring the tying run to the plate. So far the base is empty with 1 out, but a 2-ball no strike count to Dawson. The Milford bench trying to inspire a rally. As Sage Bray readies for the 2-0 pitch, McMillan swings away and lines it to the backstop, foul. Sends Aiden Wild over to pick up the loose ball. And now a 2-1 pitch on the way, a breaking ball that misses high and outside. And now 3-1. And you would have to think Coach DeVito want to see McMillan holding here, trying to get a runner on. Here's the 3-1 pitch, and he does take it, but it just grazes the outside part of the plate, and that will send us to a 3-2 count. A deep breath from Bray. Here's the payoff pitch, and it's sent on the ground towards second base. Waiting for it is Lefebvre. A short throw to first base, and the first 2 batters are retired in the bottom of the 7th inning. Milford has lost just 1 game at home this season. That was that disappointing 5-4 loss to Shrewsbury. Milford scoring 4 runs in the 7th inning. They had the tying run on base, but the luck running out. Shy of completing that comeback, but Milford now 1 out away from losing their 2nd here at Pheno. Facing an opponent they will most likely face in the playoffs. You'd think if things hold close to where they are right now, with Leominster as the 2 and Milford as the 3, they would be a likely matchup in that bracket in the opening round. Here Aiden Wild sends a ground ball to shortstop, picked by Cooper Bigelow. The throw to first base dug out by Richie Sharp, and that is that. A 1-2-3 7th inning. Aiden Wild, the ground out to short to end it. And so Milford loses a tough one here today. Leominster able to do all of their work in 2 innings at the plate. It was enough. 3 innings in the first, 4 in the 5th. And Milford unable to come back as they fall to Leominster by a final score of 7-4. So Milford will fall to 16-5 on the season, and suffering another loss to a top zone opponent, as Leominster will end the season with excellent position in those zone standings. So again, a 7-4 loss for Milford.